In response to allegations that Iran attacked an oil facility in Saudi Arabia, Donald Trump tweeted, "Saudi Arabia oil supply was attacked. There is reason to believe that we know the culprit, are locked and loaded depending on verification, but are waiting to hear from the kingdom as to who they believe was the cause of this attack and under what terms we would proceed." Now, Donald Trump was also very frustrated by the media reporting the truth about how he wanted to meet with officials in Iran to work out some sort of new Iran nuclear deal. Now, when he was pushing for this, he specifically said that he would meet with them with absolutely no conditions. Let's meet, let's talk, let's work out a deal. But Trump said that he was upset that the reporting indicated that he was willing to meet with them with no conditions. The fake news is saying that I'm willing to meet with Iran, no conditions. That is an incorrect statement as usual. But is it incorrect? I want to go to video B1 because this wasn't so long ago, June 23rd, 2019.
I'm not looking for war. And if there is, it'll be obliteration like you've never seen before. But I'm not looking to do that. But you can't have a nuclear weapon. You want to talk good, otherwise you can have a bad economy for the next 3 years. Not as far as I'm concerned, no preconditions.
So again, that's Trump on June 23rd of this year. And then you also have both Mike Pompeo and Steve Mnuchin saying something very similar during a press conference.
Does this open the path for the president to meet with Rouhani?
I would say Secretary Pompeo and myself and the president are completely aligned on our maximum pressure campaign. Now, the president has made clear he's happy to take a meeting with no preconditions, but we are maintaining the maximum pressure campaign.
So, Pompeo, for clarity on this, can you foresee a meeting between President Trump and the Iranian leader later this month surrounding the United Nations?
Sure.
Would the president support that, and do you support that actively?
The president's made very clear he's prepared to meet with no preconditions.
Okay, so look, if they stuck with that, that's great. I think we should meet with our enemies. I think that Donald Trump's gotten nothing from Kim Jong-un and has been played by him, but I don't mind that he went to go meet with Kim Jong-un. I think that's a positive step forward. Same with the Iranians and anyone else who might be our enemies. So you don't get to negotiate with your friends. That's not how it works. That's why we're negotiating in the first place. But of course now Trump has backpedaled from that and saying, no, I won't do any preconditions. And as usual, lying about it, even though it is so easy to disprove as we just did. Now that's Trump's reaction. And there's another important facet to this, which is that when he fired John Bolton, or Bolton resigned, depending on who you believe, and they're both notorious liars, so that's a hard one. He was goaded into saying, oh yeah, I'm actually tougher than John Bolton. And so people who think I'm not being tough enough, and then I got rid of Bolton because he was too tough on Iran and North Korea, you'll see I'm even tougher on them. Oh no, don't do that. And a lot of people on TV, including MSNBC, participated in that. They were like,
absolutely. I mean, look, we have an entire war infrastructure surrounding every president that gets elected. So Donald Trump might have this instinct to pull out of wars, like Afghanistan, for instance. He might have this instinct to avoid starting a preemptive war. He's been very critical of the war in Iraq, even though in the early phases he was supportive of it. But nonetheless, I mean, regardless of what a president genuinely wants, there's so much pressure, not just from Republicans, but Democrats as well, to act with brute force if there's even the slightest provocation. And in this case, we don't know for sure if Iran actually attacked that oil facility in Saudi Arabia. I don't trust what the Saudis are saying. I want to see concrete evidence. Both parties, the United States and Saudi Arabia, have failed to provide that concrete evidence. And so, yeah, if there's this nonstop chorus of people surrounding Donald Trump pushing him into war with Iran, will he act irrationally and take the bait? I think that he would. And just to really reinforce my point that even Democrats, some Democrats are in favor of responding with brute force. Here is Chris Coons, Senator Chris Coons, making the case during an interview.
What's appropriate action? Well, first, I want to see the intelligence, but it seems credible that the Houthis don't have the sort of advanced drones that carried out this crippling strike on Saudi oil facilities. My hope is that the president will consult with his generals, his diplomats, his advisors, will look hard at the intelligence. Iran is one of the most dangerous state sponsors of terrorism. This may well be the thing that calls for military action against Iran, if that's what the intelligence supports. I'd say one of the things that has kept America safe and secure for 7 decades is a global network of alliances. Obviously, our alliance with the Saudis has been badly strained, but this is a moment where Iran is really pushing our resolve and is really testing to see whether we're actually going to stand up. And if there's attacks by Iran on our close allies like Jordan, Israel, or the Saudis, we need to take seriously taking action against them.
I think it would be great to know that Republicans and Democrats would be behind that.
See, that's a huge, huge problem. There they go again. Establishment Democrats like Chris Coons going on Fox News and going, they're testing our resolve. We better show them how manly we are.
No, it's amazing. So where was the tough guy rhetoric when Saudi Arabia tested our resolve by killing a US resident and journalist at the Washington Post?
Yep, and then, and Kilmeade, if you notice at the end there, he's like, oh, it's good to see how Republicans and Democrats are united in basically pushing for a war. Now, not all Democrats are going in that direction, but Coons is a guy who is establishment through and through. He's one of the co-chairs of the people who do the prayer breakfast. And now those are guys going around the world, trying to pass laws against homosexuality. But Coons is there for their prayer breakfast, okay? You're a fundamentalist Christian, Coons is there for you. You wanna start a war, Coons is there for you. And then they tell me that Coons is on my side and he's on the side of progressives. I didn't see that. Now, in neighboring state in Connecticut, luckily we have a rational senator in this case, Chris Murphy. He tweeted about Pompeo's comments, not on Coons' comments, but Pompeo's. He said, this is such irresponsible simplification, and it's how we get into dumb wars of choice. The Saudis and the Houthis are at war. The Saudis attack the Houthis, and the Houthis attack back. Iran is backing the Houthis and has been a bad actor, but it's just not as simple as Houthis equaling Iran. So luckily there are some sane voices in the Democratic Party, but unfortunately not all. And finally that leads me to Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, who's never met a war he didn't want to make out with. So he tweets, it is now time for the US to put on the table an attack on Iranian oil refineries if they continue their provocations or increase nuclear enrichment. Now, Iran has threatened full-fledged war in retaliation if they are bombed, which makes sense because that's kind of how things work, right? And so, Graham then followed up by saying, Iran will not stop their misbehavior until the consequences become more real, like attacking their refineries, which will break the regime's back. See, that's the part that drives me crazy. I know Lindsey wars for war, period. Any war, name it, Lindsey Graham's in favor of it, okay? Yep. With Iran, he would love it. The military makes more money, oil companies make more money, the right wing in Israel is thrilled, so Lindsey Graham's like, military industrial complex for the win. But look at what he says, the same incredibly stupid things that they said before the Iraq war. Oh, it's okay, we just bomb them and it'll break their back. No, Iran is 4 times the size of Iraq. And they have, unfortunately, a very competent military. And so if we bomb Iran and proudly declare that we are bombing Iran, not Saudi Arabia, not some conflict in Yemen, but the United States of America is bombing and invading Iran. And you can say, oh, hey, they're not invading, we're just bombing the living crap out of them. If they bombed Texas, would we consider that an act of war? Of course we would, right? Any rational country would. And so the idea that they will just go quietly into that good night and now, no, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Lindsey Graham, yes, is preposterous. They would fight back and we would get into a war that makes the Iraq war look like child's play. That's what Lindsey Graham wants. Now, Donald Trump, the buffoon, is stumbling right into that. By the way, with the help of some Democrats like Chris Coons. On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.